Okay, I wanted to make a video about Najee Harris. I've seen him get some criticism online. I try to not pay too much attention to that stuff just because I don't want it to color my own opinion, but I saw him getting some criticism. I figured, let me just dive into the tape, give my thoughts on how he played, because again, spent a first-round pick on him. You're seeing Travis Etienne, who was selected a couple of picks later, play very well for Jacksonville, put up very impressive numbers. Haven't quite seen that from Najee Harris. I do still, though, when I look at this, say there's not much he can do. Philadelphia is stopping the run really well, and this play is a great example of that. So I've highlighted, everyone blames the offensive line. Everyone talks about offensive line versus defensive line, but it's not just that. There's other guys who come into play, and it's going to be those two Philadelphia players who are at the second level who are going to come into play here. Look at how when this play begins, Harris gets the football and they just both immediately move very close in to where, at this point for Harris, I mean, where is he supposed to go? What are you supposed to do here? And this is one of those things, kind of why people dislike drafting running backs in the first round in general. And I understood it at the time. I actually kind of defended it just because they were trying to do whatever was going to benefit them the most that season. It was kind of an all-in draft selection, so I didn't hate it as much as I would typically hate a first round. Typically I hate drafting, even with a top 50 pick, a running back. I just don't like it. But look, as you see, I mean, he isn't able to get anything to go with here because there isn't a push. And so this is the logic of why do you not draft a first-round running back? Well, this is the downside of it. Whether you think it's a good decision or not, this can be the downside. If a running back doesn't have a hole to run through, they're not going to look good. I don't care if you have Barry Sanders back there. It's not going to be great. I think it's worth mentioning Najee, even with that in mind, hasn't been Barry Sanders. If you like PFF grades, you can look at his. He hasn't really been great either year he's been in the league. He did get a lot of touches his first season, which kind of made him look better, and still was pretty good. I mean, 30th for a rookie, you'll take that. That's not a bad start or anything like that, but it's not something spectacular. 46 out of 56 eligible running backs so far this season is, again, if you like that stuff, if you're into that stuff, which I do like this stuff, it's concerning. But again, I have to say, as much as PFF tries their best to isolate these plays and only talk about, and take the offensive line and all that stuff out of the equation, it still is, of course, going to come in and factor in. Like this one's another example of, it's going to be the center for Pittsburgh right here. That's going to be the main guy to take a look at. This is Mason Cole, who is a fine center. He's not a bad center or anything like that. Honestly, this offensive line for the Steelers, they could certainly use a tackle. You could argue they could use two tackles, but their interior has been solid, I would say, this season. So that's not really been a massive issue, but it is an issue when you're playing the Philadelphia Eagles. The player who is going to be going up one-on-one against is going to be Jordan Davis, and watch what Davis is going to do to him. I mean, look at how Davis just completely pushed him back, is able to get over and make that tackle on Najee Harris. Again, there's just nothing Harris was able to do on that play. He was never going to be able to come in and make a good play on that one. So a lot of these issues that I've seen are not issues with him at all. There's literally nothing he can do. And I have seen some nice plays from him. I have. For example, something like this, where it's going to be it's a receiving play where he's going to just get out to the flat. You have a zone coverage play. So you're trying to get something going down the field. But if it doesn't get open, you simply just flip the ball to Najee Harris, who is going to be underneath. Look at how when Pickett takes the snap and Pickett eventually flips it to Harris, you see that there's some space here, but again, you got Philadelphia players coming in. You want to pick up as many yards as possible. I think what we see here is Harris makes the best out of a bad opportunity, right? And that's kind of really the best highlights he's had, I feel like, a lot of times, has been him making the best out of a bad opportunity. And that's what happened here, was he made the best out of a bad opportunity. So, again, I get that, he hasn't been as exciting as you were hoping he would be. That's totally fair. He has not come into the league, and you look at some other first-round halfbacks, like a Saquon Barkley or an Ezekiel Elliott, they were much more exciting right off the bat than Najee Harris has been, and even Travis Etienne has been more exciting. But again, there's only so much a running back can do. Situation does come into play. Like this one's another example of kind of him, making the most out of a bad opportunity. Again, I've highlighted one Philadelphia player who, it feels like Philadelphia just knew when the Steelers were going to be running the ball or throwing the ball, which I'm sure that Steelers fans will be screaming at their computer or whatever they're watching this on, saying, yeah, we need a new offensive coordinator, blah, blah, blah. Trust me, I get it. The Steelers offense has had a lack of creativity, and, Philadelphia was all over them. But look at how when he comes crashing in, you see right here, there is, that's the lane that Najee Harris was supposed to run through. What is he supposed to do? Well, he is able to make a move and, again, picks up a yard when he probably should have lost a yard. That's not that valuable. That doesn't matter that much, but he's doing what he can. Again, like I said, he's making the most out of a bad opportunity. Finally, one more play. Let's talk this. This is the one that I did see on Twitter of people talking about. He's in his own head. Of the offensive line has got him skittish. He's trying to do too much. I actually didn't think it was that bad. That's just my opinion. So I guess I'm pretty pro Najee Harris in this situation. So I'm not sure if Steelers fans will be happy about that or mad about it, because I know I've seen it seems like they're very divided on how he's played. And again, listen, he's lacked the plus plays. I don't think he's had a lot of opportunities to have them, but you can still sit here and say, hey, a first-time running back, you have to find a way to make some plus plays. That might be fair. But let's talk about this quote-unquote negative play by him. What's going to happen is it's going to be a zone coverage play, and you see the concept. He's basically just, again, kind of a check down type situation. Throw to him underneath, although really in this scenario, a lot of times he's the one who gets open on this side of the field. Watch. Pickett is going to take the snap. Pickett is going to look towards Harris, who is able to make the catch. And it's worth noting, so you see those two Philadelphia players are the ones he has to worry about, and he has to get to the 48-yard line. That's where he has to get the first down. It is a third down. And again, when you're watching this on the broadcast footage, it feels like he should easily be able to turn the corner and just, get to the sideline and pick up that first down marker. And even now, it kind of feels like he should be able to do that. He probably would have to take a hit. But listen, the Philadelphia defensive back who's crashing in, who's further deep, trying to crash in and get to Harris, he's definitely moving at a faster pace. Harris is completely flat-footed right now. But still, he has to move 7 yards. You only have to move 5 yards. And, of course, if you have a collision, you expect Harris to be able to fall forward a little bit. So you expect this to be a first down. You do in this situation. As you see, he kind of just, has happy feet, steps around a little bit, and ends up really gaining nothing after he caught the ball for the most part. He kind of just stood there. So that was not great. I'm not going to sit here and say it was. I understand why he did it. People are bringing up Trent Richardson with him. I don't know if that's fair. I haven't seen a massive issue with him doing this. I have seen him do it a little bit. He's trying to make too much happen when he should have just ran forward. And that is an issue, and I totally think that he deserves criticism for it. But do I think he's Trent Richardson? No, I don't think he's Trent Richardson. Trent Richardson would legitimately try to run through holes that just weren't there. Or he would see holes that were there and not run through them. That's not happening with Najee Harris. There aren't holes that he's missing for the most part. Again, you can go back and find a specific play where that happened, I'm sure. But it's not like that's happening consistently or anything like that. The reality is there just isn't that many holes for him to run through, and he's also made mistakes on top of it, which has made him look especially worse. But I think that you put any running back in that situation outside of a few of the elites, and they're going to struggle. And even listen, if Derrick Henry is back there, I don't think he was having a great game against Philadelphia. There wasn't that much that was there for Najee Harris to take. But still, I can understand why you would like to see him play better if you're a Steelers fan. That's just my opinion on all of this. What are your guys' thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.